Good morning. It's Dr. Kate Walker, and this is our Thursday 30 in our Badass Counselors Creating Badass Businesses Facebook group. And this week, we are going to Marie Kondo that shit. And I thought, you know what? I've got to walk my talk. So I'm in my garage. And so if the camera looks a little shaky, that's because I'm actually holding it. And I want to start kind of where this whole thing began, which is this gray box right here. And what you see inside my gray box is all of this PhD paperwork. So if you follow me on Instagram or if you have my Facebook page, you saw the bonfire. So the bonfire was the start of the 2019 Marie Kondo that shit. And why do we Marie Kondo that shit? We do that because when we have a cluttered life, we get a cluttered mind. And counselors, we've got to start goal setting. It's December. We want to hit the ground running in January. So, Anhel, thank you for joining. So I'm going to walk out to my backyard. Hopefully, the Wi-Fi will kick in. And as I walk around, I'm going to take you over to the fire pit. So this is where the magic happened. And at my fire pit, you can see what's left of my PhD paperwork. So it's time to clean out. If you're still hanging on to paperwork from your master's degree, if you're still hanging to paperwork that's more than 5 years old, chances are you don't need it. Now, if you look behind me, you'll see my mother-in-law because she lives in the little house behind our house. And we're going to head back inside slowly because I do want the Wi-Fi to continue. So yeah, it's time to dig out the paperwork that you don't need. That includes receipts. That includes invoices, things, receipts from your client, payments that you're saving for that IRS audit that's more than 5 or 6 years old. Now we know that LPC and LMFT rules changed, so we now have to keep our paperwork for at least 6 years to align with HIPAA. So I'm in my kitchen now and my living room. And so you'll see as I walk through the house, I'm being really vulnerable here. I'm showing you where all my clutter is because it matters, especially if you office at home. I know we all have an office somewhere where we see our clients, but officing at home means your home has to be decluttered as well. So as I kind of show you my home, you'll see, yeah, I have spots of clutter. I have spots where, you know, the kids put their stuff. And of course, we've got all the Christmas decorations up because we celebrate Christmas. And this can be a really tough time for those of us who struggle with clutter, right? Because Christmas means we've got all the junk out. We've decorated our house. It doesn't look like it normally does. And so as I walk through, you can see behind me, all of that stuff's going to have to be put away. And of course, wherever you see something decorated, there's always a closet, right? Where you hid away all the stuff. So I'm going to take you now into my home office because you guys get to see my whiteboard, but you don't often get to see how I organize. So I've got my vanity wall, right? So I've got my wall of stuff that just makes me happy. I have pictures, right? I've got a nice big window, great view of the deer that likes to come by. But how often do you get to see my closet? So in my closet, you'll see I have my infamous orange Converse. I have my filing cabinet. This is curtain. That's so that when I do my telemedicine sessions from here, I can cover up my whiteboard. So I keep these handy and use command strips with hooks so I can place it behind me and my clients don't have to see what I'm working on, goal setting, all that good stuff. So on my in my closet, see, I don't like to look at clutter, so I like to hide it. So in my closet, you see I've got my books, my Counselors Don't Quit t-shirts, artwork from my kiddo, anything that I need but don't need right now. Hey Jessica, thanks for joining us. So that's just a little bit of how I try to declutter my life. Now let's see if I can get this tripod set up so I can be hands-free for a second. Okay, so now we're back in the office, and let's talk about what this means for your paperwork. All right, you guys know, and I know, oh, here's some more stuff, right? I use a music stand to keep my textbooks out of the way. I use a little bookshelf to keep my printer out of the way. I have a gigantic computer monitor over here because I always like to work with 2 computer monitors whenever I can. But let's talk about paperwork. Oh my gosh, my hair, you can tell I've been outside. So this Facebook Live today is going to be a little bit short because one of the other ways we Marie Kondo that shit every year is we engage in self-care. So one of the things you have to remember every year, you got to take care of yourself. So I'm going to get my physical today. I've gone to my dermatologist, did my well woman exam. I'm going to the dentist next week. So all of that is about decluttering, because if you're worried about your health, if you're worried about your sugar numbers, if you're worried about your cholesterol, if you're worried about your hormone levels, you're not going to be able to focus, and it's going to affect how you treat your clients and the services you provide. So this year, 2020, I'm going to have a 30-day practice challenge, and you can use that hashtag as well as hashtag Counselors Don't Quit and post on your Instagram. Show off your clutter. I want to see your closet. I want to see it before and after. I want to see what you guys can do with what's around you and what you can see, because if you can see it, it's going to affect you. Now, the second half of this, if you guys tune in at 10 a.m. today, I'm going to have a post where you can actually peek inside my Dropbox. We have a lot of supervisors who are on the Badass Counselor page. And one of the things I told them I would do is I would repost actually, it's a video, it's a short YouTube video where I walk you through my Dropbox. One of the things I do for my interns, or I've done in the past, is I use a treatment resources. It's non-confidential material, and you can post or save things in there that your interns can use to practice. I'm going to turn off my dings because my family is texting again, but this time I remembered to turn on my Do Not Disturb. And so paperwork. One of the things I'll do in January is I will go through all of my intake paperwork, all of my supervision contracts, anything that needs to be updated. I just have to put eyes on it one more time, and then I can update it and release it to my clients. So part of getting yourself organized means paperwork, because you guys, nobody ever had a complaint filed against them because of a theory, right? It's about disorganization. It's about losing intake paperwork. It's not having paperwork available if the board contacts you with some kind of a problem. Because remember, if the boards contact you because someone has filed a complaint, you have to comply with that order. It's called an NOV. It is in Nancy, OV is in Victor. That NOV means you have a notice of violation and you must reply. And so if you are digging around for paperwork and you don't know where that is, or you haven't gone paperless yet, I'll share personally. Right now, I have a new Mac computer, and Dropbox and Sukasa are not playing nicely with it. Now, I know all of it is saved because that's part of the plan that I have. I have a regular Dropbox account in addition to, it's called a history, so it saves the history over a period of time. So even if something catastrophic happened to my files, Dropbox is taking on that liability of making sure that they can re-up all of that. And then, of course, Sukasa, which is the HIPAA compliant storage software. So if you're still storing things in big metal filing cabinets and you've got things that are more than 6 years old, it's time to start your own quote unquote burn pile, right? There are shredding agencies, Office Max, Best Buy, I don't know, lots of people where they can take care of your confidential, HIPAA compliant, medical grade paperwork. Get rid of it. You know, I tell a scary story sometimes. People pass away and spouses are asked for records. People get divorced, spouses get approached for records, and the spouse maybe left all the records in a storage bin in the backyard. That's a true story. So you have to make sure you're taking care of these records. One of the scariest stories I ever heard was actually, I was at a complaints hearing, and someone had been storing her files under a bed. And when her friend and her friend's kids came to visit, the kids pulled out all the paperwork to color on the back. They took the paperwork home and to their dad, because the mom and dad were divorced. Dad happened to be a lawyer and he recognized the paperwork immediately. And so not a good thing. So this might be the year, 2020 might be the year that you scan in all that paperwork and shred it and go to completely electronic paperwork. Remember, there are great software companies out there that will store your stuff and store a backup of your stuff. As long as you have a credit card and can keep paying your annual fee, they will take on the liability of storing your records. Remember, that's called a business associate agreement. So things on my to-do list this year for December, I'm going to go through my website and update all my SEO language. I'm going to make sure I have great keywords, and I'm going to make sure that those keywords align with what I use in my Google ads. So what is your website saying? What's your marketing? Remember, it's all about content. That's part of decluttering as well. So when you go through your website and you see stuff that if you have the ability to check the metrics and nobody's looking at, change up the page, delete the page. Look at the services, go through your numbers. Next week, it's all about the money. Next week's Thursday 30, we're going to talk about money. Where is your money? Where's it going? So this week you can prepare for that. Look through your numbers. Hey, Leanne, good to see you. Look through your numbers. See what products are selling and which ones aren't selling. Before I go to the TCA conference every November, I make a list of every product that I sell, whether this is for my training and not for my clients. And I look to see, okay, which one of these things are selling? I can tell you right now which one of my courses are selling and which ones aren't. There's a great book called The Pumpkin Plan. When you pumpkin plan that shit, that's when you look through every product that you're selling. Your products, counselors, are your client services. So if you have this amazing idea for a client service and it's been sitting out there for 12 months and no one has even looked at it, right? It's either time to make that something that's going to be a marketing tool or get rid of it. Focusing on your big sellers, that's what's going to help you meet your financial goals that we talked about last week. So I'm going to go for about a couple more minutes, then I've got to hit the road. But remember, at 10 a.m. today, I'm going to release it's just a post of how I use my Dropbox to work with interns so that they have access to the things that they need, like their weekly paperwork, things that I need to sign off on every week. Now this post is from last year. So if you aren't aware of the new rules 2019 for supervisors, you probably need to head over Texas Supervisor Training. It's another closed Facebook group just for supervisors. And we keep ourselves up to date with all the new rules. So again, if you look behind me, you see we have the 30-day practice challenge in January, and I will talk more about that. Take a picture of your clutter. I want to see it. I want to see before and after pictures of your clutter. And hashtag counselors don't quit, because we know the law. We're not going to go broke. We're not going to burn out, and we're going to stay ahead of this so that the clutter doesn't get our minds all crazy while we're trying to goal set for January 2020. So that's it for now. Sorry to cut it short today. I will see you guys next week.